John, your thoughts then on Division 3. We have a question in here from Eamon S. Your thoughts on Offaly's prospects in Division 3 this year, starting with Antrim this weekend.
It's hard to know what's going to happen there. I think that Offaly would have benefited by fulfilling their fixtures in the O'Byrne Cup. I think they should have, maybe they could have gone on. Longford have won that title. It would have been a great boost to a young Offaly team. Offaly are missing so many players from last year. Like, I mean, Niall McNamee is obviously not involved. I had a text message this morning from Jordan Hayes. He's out in the hills of Lebanon, and I think he's tuned in. So a big shout out to Jordan. See, unfortunately, with that under-20 success that came with Offaly and such a dynamic, brilliant young team, people automatically expect Offaly, hey, I mean, the future's so bright with all these young players coming through and what have you. But so many of them are the really bright stars. Cormac Geoghegan, suffered with a really bad hamstring. A lot of pressure on those young fellas playing games after that under-20 success. A lot of them went into club activity, underage activity, and they played a huge amount of games. A lot of them got injured. John Furlong, one of the most exciting young footballers in the country, a brilliant young fella, has played very, very little football with a very serious injury. There are others. Cathal Donoghue struggled last year as well. So it's going to take a bit of time for me. I think what they need is a bit of patience. But I think hard to know. Antrim this weekend, new management, McEntee gone up into Antrim. You'd expect a home result there. Like, it's difficult travelling right up to Antrim, away game for Offaly to start off. It's going to be difficult for them. But I think if they can survive in Division 3 this year, and I expect that they will, Offaly are certainly good enough to do that, because the one thing I had no interest in getting involved in inter-county football when I got a phone call to sit for an interview with Offaly, and I had gone to school in Carmel College Moat back in the 70s, and I was aware of the great Walsh Island team. Road weren't in the picture back in those days, but it was a great tradition. I grew up watching the great Offaly teams, and the one thing about Offaly football is their heart and passion, their love they have for hurling and football. So once you have that, you have your great foundation. And I know they're training exceptionally hard from what I hear. I expect that Offaly to survive in Division 3. Will they push for promotion? Possibly. But I think just there's so many players gone. Johnny Maloney, last year's captain, centre half back, a great lad, fine footballer. Niall Mack, big players that played up the spine of the team, gone for them. It could be a struggle for them to get promotion, but I expect them to survive.
Just Owen Rigney, Niall Darby, there's so many experienced players not going to be involved,
Niall Darby, what a gem of a footballer. You talk about guys and longevity in careers. I mean, Niall, 34 years of age, an absolutely incredible lad. I mean, for me getting involved with Offaly, the privilege was to manage the likes of a Niall Darby and a Niall McNamee. I mean, I went to school with Niall McNamee's dad in Carmel College Moat and his uncle Paul back in the day. And just to have the privilege to work with those guys. And we're talking about Niall McNamee, at his age. And that goes against what I just said earlier on, guys playing. I mean, he's an amazing man. The first guy in the dressing room every evening for training. And just to have the likes of him, his presence alone out on the pitch, and to see him mentoring and coaching the young under-21s who are coming into the setup. I mean, Offaly would need to be identifying him. If you're looking for a homegrown inter-county manager of the future, a Niall Darby ticket and a Niall is a dream team for me. We're talking about the dream team in Mayo. That would be super for Offaly. And to have them there, I mean, they should have
with John Mahan
looking over the shoulder and making sure those guys are looked after and kept on board.
You could be involved in an advisory capacity, John, I'd say.
Well, I see the new pack, you're right.
Do you know, I was walking past the main pitch in UCD the other day, and Cormac Geoghegan seemed to be moving quite well, doing a bit of a warm-up with the Fitz team. So, Michael, you'll hopefully have him fully available this year.
Oh, God, yeah. Like, Cormac's such an exciting talent. And again, John mentioned John Furlong. Like, to me, John Furlong is a Rolls Royce of a player. He's guaranteed starter, probably centre back for Offaly when he gets fit, probably for a decade. To me, he was actually, while other lads might have taken more of the limelight from that under-20 success, to me, he was the star. He was the one I thought, by looking at that team, there was other names we mentioned, maybe Jack Bryant, Cormac Geoghegan, lads that would, walk into a senior team, to me, he was the first player that would start on, the first of them that would make a real mark at senior inter-county, and he's just been affected by a lot of injuries, but hopefully they'll clear up in time. There's a lot of exciting prospects. We need those 3 or 4 really big players from that team to be fit, and hopefully they'll get a bit of luck, and a lot of it will come into how they're managed, I suppose, and just making sure that they're not doing too much as well.